Welcome to episode 41 of the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Blondin. And with me, as always, well, she doesn't go, she doesn't leave, is the lady from upstairs. Welcome.
Thank you.
That was a warm welcome, right?
It didn't feel very warm to me.
Okay. You've joined us at the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast, where we're going to talk about the latest news in sports, give you our opinions, give us our thoughts, and also obviously make a lot of picks here because it's a sports betting podcast. We recommend betting at a respectable rate. Don't go over your head. Be safe. There's always tomorrow, so don't lose the home. Don't lose the mortgage. Just keep it simple, everybody. You can follow the Overrated Experience on Twitter at OverratedEXPER2. That is OverratedEXPER2 on Twitter. Give us your thoughts, picks, mostly picks. I don't really care about your thoughts. I really want some winners. Anywho, I also have Facebook. We have the Facebook page. That is the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast Facebook page. Join us. Check out, we put up some picks. And we're contemplating, if I had if I was actually smart and had glasses that I could actually chew on right now, I'd be telling you that we're contemplating opening up an Instagram account. Maybe we'll put some more photos online. The lady from upstairs would love more photos online. Is that correct?
I said that?
Yeah, you said that.
I guess.
All right. Anywho, well, I don't know. You notice I say anywho a lot?
Yeah.
I know. Sorry. I'm going to have to cut that out. All right. So, lady from upstairs, we got a lot going on here. We got a lot of things changing in the world of sports. The Stanley Cup was handed out to the Las Vegas Golden Knights after 6 years of existence. It's sad as a Leaf fan knowing that 1967 was the last Stanley Cup, and the Vegas Golden Knights come into the league 6 years later. They're Stanley Cup champions. What are your thoughts on the NHL end to the season?
Well, I mean, it was, like I said, Vegas was the stronger team. They always were. I thought the Panthers were going to, maybe take him to Game 7, and I was completely wrong about that. So, and funny enough, Vegas finished 4-1, just like the basketball, NBA as well. So that's interesting.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick series for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was on. You knew Vegas blew out, Florida, in Vegas. And then Florida squeaked out a win in Game 3. Vegas, again, pretty much was a dominant team in Game 4. However, in Game 5, it was lights out. They got crushed. Florida ran out of gas. As soon as Matthew Tkachuk was not going to play with what we now know as a broken sternum, it was over. It was a matter of time. The Vegas Golden Knights are your champions. And think about this. Can you imagine a Stanley Cup parade on the Strip in Vegas? What does that party look like?
It looks like it'll keep going all night, all day. It's good.
Well, Vegas is, you can't
it's
tell
open 24 hours, yeah.
And that's, oh my God, that'd be maybe the greatest place on earth for that moment.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty cool. And just taking a step back, we talked about the Matthew Tkachuk injury. I have an issue with the NHL that since legalized betting in the United States and Canada is now the norm, and leagues are looking to take advantage of that. And why wouldn't they? It's a business model, right? They're going to keep they're going to approach every situation with the idea of making $1, and that's what they've done since the launch of gambling and all the sports books and the official sponsor of this, official sponsor of that, the NHL, et cetera, their players. Every 10 seconds I see an Austin Matthews commercial or a Mitch Marner commercial regarding betting sites, etc. But when it comes to evolving with that, I'm very curious when it was known that Matthew Tkachuk was not going to play in Game 5. Okay, lady from upstairs, I know you know your hockey, but I know you know maybe a few of the players by name. Do you know who Matthew Tkachuk is? Yeah. Say it again. What's his name?
Tkachuk.
Tkachuk. Okay.
Tkachuk.
So They announced Matthew Tkachuk not playing maybe 20 to 30 minutes before puck drop. Maybe less. I think it was 16, 15 minutes. Or anybody's going to pick it up very close to the puck drop. Or, they may have already placed their wager. So if at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I told you that 4 hours from now, or 5 hours from now, that at that point, Matthew Tkachuk was not going to play in that game tonight, Game 5. You, as the average bettor, what would that name have stood out to you and made you think differently as you place a wager on the game?
For sure. Yeah.
Right. So I want to know if in reality that the Florida Panthers or the NHL knew that he was hurt and would not play during Game 5, and they did not share this information. Do you think a bettor out there that's got the inside track, or an NHL insider or a team trainer, is not sending that information to a buddy out there? Oh, by the way, Matthew Tkachuk, who's been like our best player, our guy that's scoring key overtime goals, the face of the franchise pretty much, he's not going to play. You think that, all of us were aware, 15 minutes before puck drop? Somebody's phone rang, right? Or got a text that, Kachuk's not playing.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No, yeah.
Right. And that's the problem with the NHL. The NFL have to put out an injury report so that at least I know that, let's say, Matthew Stafford or, any quarterback you think of, Aaron Rodgers, is questionable. So at least I know that there's something wrong, and I have to put that in my thinking before I place a wager. So the NHL, if you did know, or the Florida Panthers did know, you need to shake things up and change how you approach the game and reporting your injuries, and stop with this bullshit about upper body shit. The guy's got a broken sternum. You know he had a broken sternum?
That sounds pretty rough.
That is rough, right? Not to play Game 5 of a Stanley Cup final. You knew there was something bad, but to say it's an upper body injury until after the game, you should be ashamed of yourself, NHL. You need to step up with the big boys and actually understand, if you're going to put your pocket the money for the game on the gambling side of the business, you need to open your doors to embrace everything comes along with that. So I'm throwing that out there, if that knowledge and news was there well before when it was actually announced, because I am very, very skeptical that this was honest and this was done correctly. So that's my 2 cents. Do you agree with me, or do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree. Totally agree. Lack of transparency too.
You need transparency. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so the NHL wrapped up. A lot of things going on. The draft coming up. Free agency, a whole whack of stuff. If you're a hockey fan, this is a fun time. A lot of trades are happening. A lot of free agents will sign. This should be good. Now, moving on. If you watched the night previous, the Denver Nuggets ended the Miami Heat's run in the playoffs. They are champions for the first time in Denver Nuggets history. And I will say the Nuggets win. I was 0 for 6 in that stretch of bets that evening. And it's just
rough.
Why didn't I just flip a coin? Why didn't I just get the dog to pick? Why didn't I just get Barney to come over and say, or Barney Betts and say, hey, put your paw on this, piss on over this, piss that, then at least I'll take that one. I had lost quickly in a baseball game, St. Louis, San Francisco, over under 7.5. Guess what they finished? 7. Of course. Hey, why not? I took both Jimmy Butler and Jokic to have a total, I can't remember the exact totals, but it was Jimmy Butler's points, rebounds, and assists. And he didn't wake up to the fourth quarter. He had 8 points, if I'm recollecting this correctly. I don't even think that's proper English, by the way. 8 points going into the fourth quarter, and then he woke up, hitting key threes, getting to the foul line. And then Jokic was on fire, and all I needed, I think he had 52.5, and he was sitting at 48. And for whatever reason you would think in the last 3 minutes, he would be the guy that's fouled going to the line, which did not happen. So I lost the over, which was a stupid play. That game was never going over. And I also took a live bet where I took the game over 193.5. Well, that didn't work because Miami can't score any points. So that was an ugly night and almost made me say, hey, we got to end the podcast. We got to maybe quit and move on to, maybe a pickleball podcast, because that's like the rage the kids are playing right now. So I almost stopped myself, but that was my night. Congratulations, Denver Nuggets. Lady from upstairs, I know that you had a few wins based on some of the bets you had previously announced on this podcast.
Series, yeah.
Floor is yours.
The series. So I bet that the championship was going to go to 5 games, which they did. It was plus 185, so I won that. And then I also won that Denver was going to be 4-1. So again, they were going to finish in 5 games, and that was at plus 200. So if only I had bet a little bit more money, I would have had a probably much bigger payout. But I'm conservative.
Now the NBA season, that's your passion. That's your love. It's one of those when you have the opportunity. It's usually the West Coast games that you sit down and actually get a chance to enjoy. Now that that's gone, how do you fill that void?
I think I might have to go to baseball.
All right, you did that last year. You went on to late night baseball, so you were betting a lot of Dodger, Angel, Mariner, all those West Coast teams.
Yeah.
So you're West Side, right?
I'm the West Side. Yeah.
West Side from upstairs. Okay, I just did the flash the W. West Side. West Side. There you go. So baseball for you, basketball's done, hockey's done. The transition is very different right now because baseball is an example. I'm going to get into it more now that hockey and basketball are over and the playoff run is over, and because there's not a lot left. So we got baseball. If you like Canadian football action, you got your CFL. I do like MLS, which is the Major League Soccer. So I do enjoy that. I've sucked at betting so far, but I'll get more into that. Anything that stands out to you that you would bet? Is there anything you wouldn't try? Would you try, because we have a few months of kind of nothing where it's just baseball, would you try something like cricket or rugby or darts or Formula One? What about Formula One, the car racing?
Sure, I'll try it.
Wow.
I mean, I've started trying betting and, I'm not going to say that's gone fantastic, but it's fun. I can see why people do it.
Yes, it's very fun.
More entertaining.
How many? Maybe not you. I can't speak for yourself, but how many interactions have you had now? Whether it be a birthday party, or you're overhearing people talk about betting.
A lot. I actually am so surprised to hear when I hear about other people saying, "Oh yeah, I lost this bet," or "I won this bet," and they're talking about all this betting now. It seems like everyone's betting. Oh. Even my girlfriends.
Wow, you have girlfriends. That's interesting.
My girlfriends.
Okay. Oh, got it. Okay, so for example, I've been betting since I've been 13 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And that was
18
15 years ago. Just
yeah. Right.
So I and a few select people that I know have always been in this world of, by no means professional. But these conversations that we've had since 13 years old has always been around betting. Always been around what site you're using. Always been around what philosophy you're using. What games you're taking. What's your thoughts, especially during football season. And it's funny to see that explode to other people now that you never had these conversations with. Now talking about parlays they've hit, or the bonuses that they've gotten from a site, or how they've gotten a bad beat. These conversations never took place with a number of people that is now taken I've at least noticed. So the world is changing. We'll see if it's for good or bad. I know that for myself, it's one of my passions. This is why we're sitting here talking about it. And I got to hope that, honestly, actually the barbecue that we were at over the weekend, I spent 30 minutes talking to a person I've never met before, passionately trying to change the world on sports betting. I don't even remember the guy's name. Right? Nice guy.
Yeah.
But we're talking about sports betting, and I couldn't tell you his name, but I could tell you his position on a lot of the thoughts on sports betting that we talked about. It's crazy that the topic has gone wild. So speaking of wild, actually it doesn't really translate well here, But the U.S. Open, the third golf major of the year, is upon us. Day one is in the books. And the event is taking place at the LA Country Club. What's it officially called? It's the LA County Country Club, whatever it is.
Sounds right.
I wrote this down. Where is it? Oh, the U.S. Open, the Los Angeles Country Club. Mm-hmm. Visually on TV so far, I'm not so impressed with the way the course looks. I don't like the background. It looks... You see I don't know if they're apartment buildings, but they look like older buildings, but not the old classic buildings that you would, if you were in Paris or...
Really?
Like LA. Like
run down.
I don't know if they run down. They just look old. They don't look impressive, right?
Yeah.
And you've lived in LA, and did you ever hear of the LA Country Club?
No,
You never golfed there?
Yeah. No.
No?
I lived in San Fernando Valley, so I was just outside of that, but yeah. I had a lot of family there, but no, I never visited, no.
Okay. But is LA, like, from you recall, does it have that everything looks modern, or does it look like a bit of the 80s or early 90s?
No.
As far as buildings?
Yeah, no, there's some areas that definitely still look like that. I mean, you get those here too, right? Like they look a little older, and yeah, no, I'm surprised about that. I gotta check it out.
Yeah, it kind of gave me a feel like a Dentonia golf course. Like it really did. It
like
sounds
it didn't
bad.
Match it,
and
yeah.
Nobody out there. And by the way, for those who do listen from a distance, I appreciate you. The lady from upstairs may not, but I do. Okay. So I appreciate you listening. So some of the references that I may provide or the lady from upstairs may provide are very local. But for those who are local listeners, when I say Dentonia,
yeah.
that the reference of what the background looks like as you're golfing, you will absolutely know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. So that being said, we're talking about a golf tournament here. Now, I wish the lines for day 2, like the 3-ball and a lot of the bets that I took today were up. They're not, so I won't be speaking to those. But what I will say is I did get one bet off today, early in the morning. And now the funny thing is that I was trying to bet on Scotty Scheffler. Mm-hmm. And by mistake, I bet on Xander Schauffele. And the difference is that I bet... So, to explain for you viewers out there, I've mentioned this before. There's various bets you can take. You can bet the winner for the overall tournament. You can bet the round. You can bet how many birdies somebody has. And this is a tournament of birdies, by the way. So there's a lot of holes where you'll see guys like 5-6 birdies, and that's not surprising compared to some of the other majors we've seen so far this year. But I almost lost my train of thought. Do you know what my train of thought was? My train of thought was I placed a wager thinking it was Scotty Scheffler, but it was actually Xander Schauffele.
That's funny.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking right off the bat, so Scotty Scheffler, first hole, he drives one into the sand trap, and he has a bogey on the first hole. I'm like, what the fuck? Here, the first hole.
Womp womp.
Yeah, what the fuck? And then I'm like, okay, let me check that again for some reason, because I know he was facing, his threesome was John Rahm and Victor Hovland. And I'm like, they're not golfing together. That's weird. So I go check it, and I'm like, oh shit, I got Xander Schauffele. He's one below par. And now he's leading the tournament. So I got the win. So my $50 turned into $97.
Wow.
Profit. So 50 back, 97 profit. So do you think, officially, if I was at a barbecue again next weekend,
yeah,
can I legitimately go to somebody and say, hey, here's what I took and I won with, and feel confident that I should stand behind my bet that I won, or should I keep that to myself knowing it was a mistake? What's the etiquette, you think?
I think you should keep that to yourself, or you could admit that it was one of those, because we've all done it before, right?
Yeah.
Like I think I told you once that, or I may have mentioned it in this podcast, that I put a bet through. I thought I put a bet through, and oh my god, I lost it, and then actually didn't, because it never went through. So I think it's one of those things where you just make mistakes, and sometimes it works out, and You know, like you said, maybe just get Barney to pick the picks and you might get lucky.
He's Barney Betts, by the way.
Barney
That's his official handle.
Barney Betts. Okay.
Barney Betts, okay. So I've done that a few times, right? Sometimes it does not work out. And many times, especially during football season and many of these sports books you're doing online, they're so busy, they start clocking. And your bet's like, you see the circle going. You're like, did it go through, not go through? And you go in and bet again. And sometimes your bet shows up twice. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it does not. And it's too late to cash out because you're going to lose, a few dollars, and you don't want to cash out if you bet 100 and get back 90 on nothing. So just be careful out there, folks. That's a warning. This is like a public service announcement. But for etiquette, you're thinking that you probably should keep it to yourself or have a disclaimer that I took it, but here's the story of what I did.
Yeah, just admit. You know what? That would probably be a nice sort of fun poll to put on your Facebook page. Like, what would you do? It's interesting to hear what your listeners would do.
You're right. I did ask an interesting question, and that's from an interesting person. Thank you. Absolutely correct. That was a great question. I give you
too much credit. Come on.
No, I just I put up the product, and the credit's just there to be given. So thank you. Anywho, I said it again. Sorry. Take a shot for any time I say anywho on the podcast. So, going into just some thoughts going forward in the tournament. Well, Xander Schauffele is tied at -8 with Ricky Fowler. And they both shot a 62, which is a U.S. Open record. So that's crazy because there's a lot of short holes on this. Mm-hmm. So you have Xander Schauffele and Ricky Fowler that had a lot of birdies. But there's a lot of guys that had a lot of birdies, but also a lot of bogeys. So it evened out. But that's not funny.
I don't know. It just sounds funny. For someone that doesn't know, anything about sports or golf, to hear birdies and bogeys, it's just funny.
Stop being a putz.
What do you mean? Anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Anywho.
So Xander Schauffele right now is favorite to win the tournament at plus 350. However, it's weird because Ricky Fowler, who's also -8, is plus 650. So the bettors are thinking Xander Schauffele is the guy, even though he's tied for the lead. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if he's going to hold on. He had a great day. He's got a significant lead over a lot of guys. However, I think some value here is Rory. What's his name? Rory.
I knew you were going to ask me that.
Right.
McIlroy.
Very good. Before is McIlroy.
McIlroy.
It sounded like you had a root canal and you were trying to spell out the word. But Rory McIlroy, I'm very impressed. Good job.
I knew I was going to remember it. I knew you were going to test me.
So I don't know if I'm convinced Rory is a real contender here. Rory has been, he hasn't been great recently. He faded out of the RBC here in Canada. He's plus 800. He's at -5. He had a good, strong showing today. And, I don't know, maybe the Live Tour and the PGA announcement and the merger could have just pissed him off and really set his sights on dominating any Live player that's in front of him. But he's at plus 800, only 3 shots back. There is value there. So one guy that has a lot of value to me, and he's been asleep ever since he went to the Live Tour, and that's Dustin Johnson. He's plus 850. He's at -6 behind Rory. But Dustin Johnson, to me, has more of a pedigree of when he's on fire, he's on fire. A former Masters champion. Do you know who Dustin Johnson's father-in-law is? As I drink water and you fill the void?
No.
All right.
Was that long enough to say, no?
His father-in-law
yeah,
is Wayne Gretzky.
Oh.
Aha. Okay. All right. Actually, I don't even know if he married Gretzky's daughter or not, but they have kids together, and so
kind of married. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Hey, why do we? Why do us go through the process where others don't? I don't know. Anyway. Damn it! I said it again. Sorry.
Shot.
Take a shot. So, Dustin Johnson, he's starting to get his game going. Watch out. He can go on a run for multiple weeks, and maybe he's kicking it off here at the U.S. Open. John Rahm, well back, 7 strokes back, -1. He is plus 2,100. But you know what he is? You know what John Rahm is?
What?
He's John Rahm. And that's he's the Masters champion. He's that damn good. And 7 strokes over 3 days. Is it really out of the realm of possibility? Why are you laughing at the strokes?
Sorry. Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. We're trying to be a professional sports betting and sports news podcast here, okay? Let's keep it down. Can you fill up my...
Yes.
Okay, out of the vintage box of wine. We should have... Honestly, we should have... You know, if this podcast goes anywhere, we should have our own... That's... The box of wine is good. There's going to be an overrated experience sports betting podcast box of wine.
There you go.
And it's going to have overrated experience symbol on it. What about that? What do you think about that? Would you drink that wine?
Hey, I've heard of other businesses, working out. You never know. Yeah.
Okay. I'm waiting for my wine before I go further. Anyway, okay. So John Rock, 2,100, -1 right now. He's kind of behind, but over 3 days, he can catch on fire. Now, here's a sneaky one. And he played quite well today. You know, he recovered well after a few poor shots early. And he's sitting at -3, and that's Bryson DeChambeau. The course, it's weird because there's a lot of yardage on the course, but there's also a lot of short par threes. He might be a wild card here. There's always someone in the Live Tour that you don't expect step up. Koepka's been the guy, the last 2 times. Phil Mickelson has. Why can't Bryson? He's plus 2,800, only 5 strokes behind. He lost luster before he went to the Live Tour. So watch out. It seems like he's healthy. It's kind of like, actually, if you watch him though, it's kind of like an awkward, like weird kind of, stance, and the way he's hitting the ball. It's been effective, but he looks kind of weird.
Is it as weird as mine?
I'm pretty sure if it was weird as you, he would not be at the U.S. Open. I'm going to point that out, that if Bryson DeChambeau is, using the mechanics of the lady from upstairs, I'm not sure if he'll get that multi-$100 million offer from the Live Tour to come join them. Mm-hmm. I don't see that happening. No disrespect, but I just don't see him matching your, strategy. I just want to put that out there.
Nobody wants to see my stance.
I don't see that as a win for Bryson DeChambeau. Mm-hmm. Wow, I was going to say anywho there, but that was...
I can't take any more shots. Come on.
Okay, that was some good content. Okay, we're going to shift over. So U.S. Open action, I encourage you. Actually, before we shift over, we got the U.S. Overrated Experience Open, which is our fantasy pool with a few folks on the Office Pool site. I will say that, you know what? It's a good job. I'm in 10th place. So that, I'm there. But, sorry, remind me how many players there are?
There are 10.
Oh, that's not good then, right? Okay.
There's a desperate person at the end. It's called Let Me Win.
That's me. I'm very desperate.
Okay. Yeah, very desperate.
I took Victor Hovland. I thought he would go on a run. He had an average day at best today. So we have... I'm going to have a shout out here. So 3-time champion Adam from Oak Ridge. What's your name should we give him? What do you think? What if we were like a knight, like a king or a queen knighting Adam, because he's a 2-time champion of the overrated experience Masters and PGA Championship.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What's your reference?
I'm stumped, actually. I don't know what I would call him.
All right.
Maybe we'll get back.
Okay, we're going to get back. We're going to give him a name.
Yeah,
but as a 2-time champion, he's going for the Grand Slam. He's not number 1 yet. We have Horser is number 1. So our boy from Mississauga is leading the pack. I think he's hungry. He was ready for this, and he's ready to win. So we'll see what happens. We'll have to think of a nickname for Horser.
I think that's it.
No, I don't want Horser. I think it's got to be
that's
more.
His nickname.
It's got to be. We'll see. Well, maybe we'll discuss with Horser what name would be appropriate. Mm-hmm. All right. So Austin Clubs new entry into the overrated experience. The U.S. Overrated Experience Open is number 2. Did you know that Austin Clubs texted me today? Goes, how's the scoring work? And he's in the second slot. and I'm sitting there in last. So that tells you
Yeah.
how well I'm doing.
Exactly.
So that is the golf. Any thoughts on the golf pool? Like, I'm just gonna ask you about the office pools. To me, it's easy to set up, easy to get the emails out, easy to get people signed up. I find it somewhat clunky to navigate and use their website and then transition over to the app, and I don't know. I'm okay with it, and I'll run with it for the British Open that comes up. But what, like, you as a user, how do you find the Office Pools app? Do you use the app or the website?
I know I used the app. It's not too bad. I think I was able to find the team and the ranking faster than you were on the desktop. So I think the app might be better. Maybe to set it up, maybe the desktop, but to actually viewing it, I think you should look at the app. It's not too bad, but yeah,
I also have admin access, so I have to jump between admin access and this. So I find sometimes I'm wasting time navigating around to try to find what I'm looking for, whether I'm looking for a list of players and their email addresses, whether I'm looking for, hey, what's the standings? Maybe I'm looking for the other things. I don't know. It's not a 10 out of 10 experience so far. Let's say that. Okay, we're going to move on and transition over to the Boys of Summer. What sport is the Boys of Summer?
baseball.
What's your favorite baseball movie, by the way?
Is it Field of Dreams? What it's called?
It must be your favorite that you can't remember it. So is that the ones? What about Major League with Charlie Sheen and?
Oh yes, I like that one. It's funny.
Okay,
it's funny because I like Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
Winning. If you remember that.
Yeah.
So I love baseball, but I love Bull Durham. I have Field of Dreams, so I'll put it up there. Obviously, Major League is one of the best as well. Have you ever seen For the Love of the Game? Kevin Costner?
No, I don't think I have.
That is also good. So baseball, we love it, and we're going to jump into it. So last week, the lady from upstairs and KB, Kyle Blinder over here, took 3 games each, and we decided to put our records up against each other. So my record was 1-2, whatever. And then the lady from upstairs was 2-1. So she holds a slight lead right now. So we're going to pick 5 games each here, and we're going to keep track of how well we're doing. So we're going to go to the board, and we're going to talk about... I'm curious of where the lady from upstairs got her insight to make these picks. So let's start with you. Baltimore and Chicago, which I love the fact that Chicago loves to play a home game at 2:20 all the time. Friday afternoon, live from Wrigley. Mm-hmm. Talk about a ballpark. It's a bucket list ballpark. Sit in the outfield near the Ivy on Waveland Avenue. That'd be amazing. So what have you taken? Baltimore, Chicago.
I took the over for that 7.5.
What was your rationale?
I just like that it's 7.5.
Okay.
That's it. Nothing else.
That's what gets me every time. It's you know how some people get caught up, like they're in the store, and if they see something on sale, it attracts them. Like it's oh my god, if it's on sale, I gotta grab it. I can't pass this offer up. That's like me and over under that looks low.
Well, yeah, and I mean, like I looked at the money line too. So Orioles was like -116.
Mm-hmm.
Cubs was like 102. So it's not too far apart. So I thought, I think the 7.5 might be okay. So yeah.
You know what I love is as we go further, and I push you to act like, even if you're not on, if for some reason you can't make it, you will provide your picks each week, okay? Mm-hmm. Going into the Friday games, depending the day after the podcast is actually recorded. Mm-hmm. And I'd love to see how it transitions from what you just said, why you picked, to maybe a little more educated analysis. I'm just saying, mm-hmm. just because as you become more familiar, mm-hmm. you may choose teams and games a different way. So you're taking the Baltimore Cubs game over.
Yeah.
And then you also wanted to take the Yankees and Red Sox. What did you want to do there?
I picked the over, actually, for 9.5. It was at -105. Again, just like good teams. I just don't know. Like, I know the Boston's the favorite, but I think they can score a lot of runs. So I went with the 9.5. It was at -105. So
Okay, so it's a high game. It's
high
in
game,
Boston.
yeah.
You're thinking the two teams are going to put up some numbers tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's move on. The Jays are in Texas, and you've taken.
I actually took the spread for the Blue Jays on that. It was +115. So Jays are a favorite to win. I just wasn't sure about the 8.5, so I decided to take the spread.
So you took the run line. So the spread in baseball is the run line for everybody out there.
Yeah.
Just throwing it out there that if you think a team is dominant and will win, then you may feel better with the odds if they win by 2 or more. Now, Texas, just let you know. Do you know what Texas's record is, by the way?
What?
Okay, sorry. I'm going to tell you the Blue Jays record, and I'll tell you Texas' record. Okay. So the Blue Jays currently are 38-32.
Okay.
The Texas Rangers are 42-26. However, the reason why the odds are pretty decent that the Jays are favored is because Kevin Gossman's on the mound, which is he's 5-3. He can be dominant. He did get lit up the last time he pitched, but it's not a bad pick. Is it a pick I would take? But am I a winner? No. So let's go with it. See what happens.
Yeah, just go with it.
All right. So Angels Royals was another game that stood out to you. What did you like there?
I also took the spread. Sorry, the run line.
Okay.
With Angels, and it was at +102. So, as you said, good value.
It's funny because I had seen it at -104.
Yeah.
So you got a +102 and you took the Angels. Okay. Yeah. There's nothing wrong there. Okay. I like that. So also your last and final 5th game, Cleveland, Arizona. What did you take there?
I took the over 7.5. I think 7.5 is doable. So.
Okay, let's check it again because when I checked it when you listed your plays,
It's earlier than you.
It was earlier and it was at 8. So let's see what it's at today. So right now, and this is the, it's at 8. So I mean, if you got it at 7.5, and what was it
-118?
-118. That means you've gotten value, right? So that's pretty sharp. If you wanted to consider a win without actually making money, that if the spread goes your way, if you picked an over and it keeps going up, you got to consider that you looked at it the right way, or you kind of had a good take on why you took it. So just to recap, you have Baltimore Chicago Cubs tomorrow afternoon over 7.5 -115.
Yep.
You have the Yankees Red Sox big rivalry over 9.5 -105. Jays Rangers took the run line -1.5 at +115. Angels, Royals, you also took the run line. You got it a plus. I had it -104, but you got it a plus. And you took the Cleveland Guardians and the Arizona Diamondbacks over 7.5. It was 8, so you're getting line value there. Those are your 5 picks. The 5 picks I took, and I do see value at the St. Louis Cardinals take on the New York Mets. The Cardinals have lost 5 in a row. The Mets are not great either. However, the Cards are kind of in a tailwind right now for some of the losses, especially in that series against the Giants. So I like the Mets at the even money. Next game I like is Colorado-Atlanta. They're not playing in Colorado, so the thin air is not there. However, Atlanta and Colorado do put up numbers. I think we had a large scoring game tonight. I think it ended 8-4, and I like the 9.5 at -120. Philadelphia over Oakland. Plus, I took the run line here at +114. And Oakland did have a little spurt, putting a few back, series sweep in Milwaukee. First of all, Milwaukee, you should be disgusted with yourself. He actually got swept by the Oakland A's. And they came back and, handled the A's a few losses. But I think they're going to come back down to earth. The Philadelphia Phillies, big win today over the Arizona Diamondbacks. And I'll tell you right now what pisses me off about baseball sometimes. I had the over-under today, 9 runs against the Arizona Diamondbacks and Philadelphia Phillies. 5-4 after 4.5 innings, which is a push, right? So 4.5 innings. What do you think the game ended at?
What?
5-4. 4.5 innings, nothing. And you sit there and watch, and you see runners left on base, opportunities missed. So that's the life of a gambler, I guess.
Yeah.
So Philadelphia run line +114. Cincinnati, Houston. I know Houston's missing a few guys, but I still like that game to go over 8.5. Tampa Bay and San Diego. I'm going to take Tampa Bay, even though that Yu Darvish is on the mound, minus 116. And those are my 5, and I hope to crush the lady from upstairs.
Okay, we'll see.
All right.
It's on.
It's on. So let's end this off with a few minutes dedicated to the Canadian Football League. So the Canadian Football League kicked off last week, and now we're into week 2. And I'm going to give you a couple of picks, and then I'm going to ask the lady from upstairs a couple of trivia questions.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Are you ready for those trivia questions? Wait, I'm not going to answer them yet, but I'm saying you're ready so you can think, really think of what I really know about Canadian football.
Yeah, I don't know much, but I will.
Let's start off with what does CFL stand for?
Canadian Football League.
Very good. That's a good start. So we'll get back to you.
Okay.
All right. So what I like going into the weekend, I do like a parlay. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Friday night, take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers to win. Winnipeg is the dominant team in the CFL. And then you have Saturday, you have the BC Lions hosting the Edmonton Elks. So I like to parlay with Winnipeg and BC. If you put 100, you're going to win $88. It's not massive, but I think you got a good, opportunity to. The odds are well in your favor to take that and win. And then also on Sunday, we have the defending Grey Cup champions, the Toronto Argonauts, taking on and hosting the Hamilton Tiger Cats at BMO Field in Toronto. I do like the over at 46.5. I see the Argos getting a shootout here in Hamilton. I could be wrong, but I'm probably right. So now we're on to CFL action, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, the NFL, their field of play is 100 yards long. How long is the Canadian Football League field?
I thought I was getting multiple choice.
Not this one.
Okay, it's shorter. It's all I know.
It is not.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
How many? Just take a guess. How many yards? So NFL is 100.
Yeah.
What would you think the CFL?
120?
110.
110, okay.
110 yards. That's Canadian Football League.
Okay.
It's actually wider. I just don't know the dimensions, but it's also wider and longer.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Dramatic pause to understand what hand signals I probably provided.
Okay.
Downstairs. Anyway. Can you name all 9 Canadian Football League teams?
Oh my God.
Let's go. Come on.
Toronto Argonauts.
That's 1.
Calgary Stampeders.
That's 2.
Oh my God. Hamilton Tiger Cats.
Very good. That's 3.
Is there still a Montreal?
Yes, there is.
Alouettes?
Very good. That's 4. Holy crap. You got 5 to go. You do have the opportunity to ask for help, and I'll give you a province, and then you can decide what team you think it might be.
Help.
Okay. British Columbia.
Whitecaps? Oh my God, no,
That is the
not
wrong sport. I almost fell off my chair. That is the Vancouver Whitecaps of the MLS.
Okay. Vancouver. Hold on. Is it the Winnipeg Blue Bombers? Oh, sorry. Is it?
Yes, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are a team.
Yeah.
But we were trying to sort out the British Columbia team.
I know, but I remembered that one, so that came back. So I had to say it before I forgot.
Okay.
So the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Okay.
Okay. Vancouver.
No, Vancouver. BC.
Sorry, BC Lions.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
And what about the Saskatchewan team?
Rough Riders?
Very good, because I mentioned it. What about the Edmonton team?
Edmonton.
They used to formerly be known as the Edmonton Eskimos.
Okay,
they did change their name.
That's what I was going to say, because I don't remember.
Okay,
I don't know what
it's
the
Edmonton
name.
Elks now.
Okay.
Okay, so you talked about the BC Lions, talked about the Edmonton Elks, talked about Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah.
Talked about the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, talked about the Saskatchewan Roughriders,
Yeah.
Hamilton Tiger Cats, Montreal West, Toronto Argonauts. There's one more team in Ottawa. What team is that? I don't think you know. I'm going to give it to you.
Can I call a friend?
You're going to actually call somebody?
No, I'm kidding. I don't have a
I thought my phone was going to ring.
Who is it?
The Ottawa Redblacks.
Oh,
So
okay.
9 teams.
I don't think I've ever heard of that name.
All right. Okay. Is the NFL football smaller or bigger than the Canadian Football League football?
NFL is bigger.
That is incorrect. The
What?
CFL football is larger. I don't know. I don't have the dimensions in front of me, but it is larger.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, so that was the CFL trivia. I just want to make sure you're on your toes on that. How do you feel about that?
Well, I want to say it wasn't that bad for someone who doesn't know that much.
Oh,
Come
sorry,
on, I gotta get
sorry, that much about CFL or just in general?
CFL. In general.
In general?
Too. In
You don't know much about it in general?
I don't know.
Okay, that's a lot of wine talking. Okay. All right, so we're at the end of the episode 41 of the Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast. Any last words, lady from upstairs?
Thank you for having me again. It's wonderful to be here.
Well, it's great that you're available when we can't find another guest. Thank you. All right. So everybody out there, please again join us on Twitter at Overrated EXPR2 on Twitter, and obviously the Facebook page, Overrated Experience Sports Betting Podcast. You'll find us there. Join us. Join the conversation. Let's get the group going. Let's have some fun. And then I'm just going to say that you've listened to the podcast. The pleasure's all been yours. Over and out.